So now I'll introduce the last speaker of the first session here, and it's Assistant Professor Federico Casanova, who is from Research Group of Food Production Engineering. Hi, Federico, and you're going to talk about plant proteins from lab to industrial scale.
So we talk now about from lab to industrial scale. So we know, as a short introduction, we know that we need to increase the food production. Population is increasing 70% by 2050. And the consequence of this agriculture and livestock grow. And the problems correlated to this is deforestation, water consumption, greenhouse gas emission. So which is the objective and how we can fight with this is to shift towards alternative and sustainable protein source allied with green approaches. And, sorry. Yes, thanks. And is what we are doing now. So we are in a good track because in Europe, we have euro sales 2022, 5.8 billion of euros. And euro sales grow plus 21%. And in specific, if we focalize in Denmark, we have, Denmark is the, we can say, the top country in plant-based food, especially in plant-based milk products. And we observe an increasing in plant-based meat. So we can say we are on track. So we are in a good way. And we can conclude that this market is growing. So this one we can state quite easily. But the consumers ask for a wider choice of products. So a lot of variety of product, not only plant-based burger. And I'm sorry to say this, but in the last 10, 15 years, we move quick and dirty. So we need to enter in the market with products, with plant-based product. And what happened? Plant-based protein from lab to industrial scale become plant proteins industrial scale. And then associated to this, we had a lot of problems, like taste, maybe was not like real meat. Texture, maybe was too hard, too soft, too small, too big. Color, when we use plant-based, we have the problem of color. Too much green, not enough green. Price, too much, too low, too high. And some problems related to nutritional value. So how to solve this? How to solve this? We come back to the lab. So come back to the past. And here, with a quick research, literature review research, you can see that from 2000 until 2010, we have a number of published papers as a function of the year. We have only few amounts of papers on this. And then from 2011, 12, a huge increase. So the tendency, the slope completely changed. What is the conclusion of this? Collaboration between academia and companies. Try to solve the main questions from scientific point of view. And at that point, not specific at this year, but what we are doing now is in food production engineering group. So we enter now to try to solve this and try to bring answer. So our approach in our group, but at DTU Food in general, is to design development of sustainable and efficient plant-based food. And for this, we need to tackle application, function, processing, and structure. In deeper, try to understand the molecular interaction that happens in food complex matrix. So, and use for this mathematical and modeling approach. If you dive a little bit more in another level, this is our general approach, going from nano to macro scale. Encapsulation, ingredient, interaction and function, bio-based packaging, valorization of side stream, and the last one, industrial production. And all of these points, they are monitoring by modeling approach. And what we obtain, so how we start in this process. First of all, we need to employ green technology to extract the proteins. Plant-based proteins are related to seeds or plants, and they are strictly bound to them. So we need to extract them. And we need to extract with less water consumption, less energy. So we need to use green approaches. And this is a general fly on the surface approach. Is more complicated than this one. But we start with green with the plants, the raw material. We apply green technologies like ultrasound, pulsed electric field, ohmic heating, plasma. Why we add this? Because we avoid the use of harsh solvents, less water, non-thermal treatment, and we keep safe the structure of the protein. And then we obtain the protein powder. So the protein powder is ready to be used for different applications. And then here we have a few examples of application at different length scale. So antimicrobial coatings, plant-based capsules, or plant-based meat alternatives, or edible films. So here is really the nanoscale. So how we can build simple, we can say, system. Then if we move to another scale, here is more formulation. So how these ingredients interact with others, like oils, for example. And here is an example of vegan mayonnaise obtained from leftover cooking from mustard seeds. So in a mustard production, you need to boil the seeds. And then you take the seeds, you work with the seeds, and you have the mustard. But what we can do with the leftover? Leftover are rich in proteins because we apply heat treatment, so we have an extraction. So if you dry this protein and then you mix with oil, you obtain a mayonnaise. The extraction is completely the same, without any salts. So it is really protein and oil. The texture is okay. We need to work now on the taste, but we are on track. But it's quite important to have the structure, then the taste we can change later. And then another scale, modeling. So prediction, obtain deep insight, optimize and control the process. So we generate a lot of data in the last 100 years. So now we need to analyze this data, how we can handle it, how we can read it, how we can optimize the existing process. And this is the work of one of my colleagues. And we can predict the cooking process when you have a piece of bread, or chicken in a long line chain. So different shape, different weight, but we can model all overall. So this one, or how we can optimize the extraction, in this case, protein extraction. So instead to use, if you use a lot, it's fine, but maybe it's too much. And we need always to follow less is better. So this is one kind of approach to explain all how we handle with the data. So the question, how is it going? I think it's going fine. So we are in a good way. And what we are moving now, so which are the next steps? Of course, we are working on the previous one, but we need always to see the future, or in this way or in another way, not stay at that place. So taking the first slides on our approach, the next step, and we are working on this, is Industry 4.0, so creation of smart system. how we can combine all of this with machine learning, for example. So if you are interested in this, please, you are more than welcome this afternoon to join us. We have some funny demonstration of machine learning in our stand. Proteins from alternative sources like leaves. So please join us and ask all the questions. Just to conclude this, and this is quite important, this presentation is flying on the surface, so general aspect, as you probably know, is much more complicated than this. But one message that you need to bring home, or the main message, and there are a lot of companies here, there are companies, one company also from France coming today, is this one. So one main conclusion. So we need to collaborate each others if we would like to solve the fundamental questions related to plant-based protein. Thanks a lot for your attention.